Well, you might be thinking why I'm comparing the Galaxy S22 Ultra, last year's Samsung flagship phone, about to be 3-year-old, with the iPhone 15 Plus, which is actually launched recently by Apple as their standard flagship. Why? The reason is very simple. I bought the Samsung after the iPhone 15 Plus, and I got it at the same exact price in my market. So definitely some people might find it useful, but it's not for everyone though, I know that. So let's start with the first thing you were going to see, the display. The absurd part of these displays are that Samsung may have a slightly bigger screen by about 0.1 inch, but it feels a lot bigger because of the rectangular design. Even though technically these two phones are almost the same size, the Samsung actually feels a lot bigger. But the display panels are something that are like so damn different, yet so much similar. Because in terms of the brightness, many people will say that 2000 nits is a big deal over the 1750 nits of the S22 Ultra, blah blah blah. But actually, in reality, the difference between them is so much thin. Because the brightness usually measured in logarithmic scale, not in linear scale. So the difference between 1750 nits and 2000 nits are much less than, let's say, between 1000 nits and 1250 nits, even though the difference between them in the units are the same. But then again, these two phones also has the same kind of exact behavior outside. If you have them in a higher brightness and use their cameras, these phones get really warm really fast and they throttles down their brightness a lot. And that's why I use them at 100% manual brightness instead. Now, I have seen the Samsung can go even lower in brightness than the iPhone thanks to an extra dim button. Also, the PWM is a big thing. I used not to care about it, but I think I need to now because with this iPhone, I started to experience that. The Samsung though, I haven't seen that thing. The headaches only comes back when I start to use the iPhone again in the night. But I haven't seen that with the iPhone XS Max I used to own quite a few years back. I don't know why that is the case, but that's a thing. Now, the cool thing is that the Samsung can actually change the resolution if you want, or it can also switch the refresh rate if you want. Unlike the iPhone, it is at a fixed resolution and it is also at a fixed 60Hz refresh rate. Yes, the iPhone animations are great and I don't feel like I need the 120Hz on it. I totally agree on that. But for people who are spending that amount of money, like outside US, this phone actually cost a lot, over $1,000. So I think these people deserve it at the end of the day. That's what I'm trying to say here. The bezels though are something I have to say, like, this is amazing on both of them, like really thin on both of them. But the Samsung ones are curved at the sides. I really do love that thing though. But also it comes with a lot of problems of its own. So I do really love the Samsung's display, but I also love the iPhone's display, except that PWM thing. I personally love the Nokia Lumia designs. I really love that. So that's why the Galaxy Note 10, the Note 20 Ultra, the recent Galaxy S Ultra models, even the upcoming Ultra models remind me of that design heavily. So you know why I love the boxy designs, the flat top and bottom, and why I prefer it over anything in the market, even other Samsung devices. Not saying the iPhone is a bad looking or anything like that, it's just a normal looking iPhone with flat sides, rounded edges, and flat screen. That's probably it. And at the back, it has the same camera layout as the iPhone 13 and the iPhone 14. We have seen it. Now, this iPhone design, this new small little changes make it more comfortable than last year's iPhone, for sure. But it also is a very much of a personal thing at the end of the day, because you might not even like the whole Samsung's boxy design, because it does dig into your hands while using it for longer hours. So you might not like that. But the in-hand feel of the Samsung is also something that is really premium because of the armor aluminum frame. Somehow, the phone also has a heft of its own. It feels more premium than you think. And it also does make sense because it was launched at a $1,500 price tag in my region, so definitely. The iPhone is lighter in comparison, a lot lighter, by about 30 grams or so. And with this new frosted back, this iPhone kind of feels like a toy now. I mean, it can be a really good thing or a bad thing depending on which color you buy or who you are or what you like. iPhone 11, my last iPhone, also had a much more heft or premium feel to it somehow. I'm not talking about the stainless steel models that I owned once, but I have to say this iPhone has a very great weight distribution and a very cool texture at the back. I mean, whether it feels like a toy or not, but the texture of its own is supremely unique. I actually like it, but kind of like a toy like it. The next thing is speaker. This is where Samsung is a total loser. The iPhone 15 Plus has one of the best, I would say, again, one of the best sounding speakers in a smartphone. And that too, whether you talk about the loudness or even the clarity, it is so damn good. Like, it is very close to my iPad Pro 11-inch models for quad speakers. So that's incredible. Here's a good example for you. I mean, you see the difference, right? The iPhone has much more bass than the Samsung. It is also much more louder than the Samsung. Doesn't mean the Samsung one is bad totally, but it's really, really thin and not as loud as you might expect from a flagship phone of this quality or caliber. I mean, I've tried both Dolby Atmos on and off. It's not great. The next thing is charging in USB-C. I just needed to mention this because iPhone recently came with the USB-C, so that's why it's a big thing. I'm really happy that iPhones finally have the USB-C. I can charge it with any freaking USB-C chargers in my home. It doesn't have to be Apple's charger. That's really awesome. I don't see any difference between these two ports. Yes, Samsung port is faster. It can charge faster charging up to 45 watts. And it's a USB 3.2 Gen port, so it's in terms of transferring files, but I don't transfer files, so I don't really see the difference between USB 3.2 or USB 2.0 on the iPhone 15 Plus. No, not at all. All I'm saying is that I'm fine with USB-C on the iPhone, whatever that is. But the Samsung actually has a cool feature thanks to this single USB-C port, and that is Samsung Galaxy Dex feature, which is actually a blown up Android, but it also behaves like a computer. But I think it's a very cool feature. Sometimes it's come in handy. Now, before coming to the battery though, I want to talk about the software updates a little bit. The Samsung out of the box came with One UI 5.1 software for this device, and I haven't upgraded to the One UI 6. I know it's better, but I just don't want to upgrade. And the iPhone came with iOS 17 and is still on iOS 17. I mean, there is no iOS 18 anyway, because I just don't really care about the tiny little features they add with every single updates, and they mess up other things like the battery or the other experiences. I just don't want that. But for those who want that, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra will get up to Android 16, and the iPhone will get 4 to 5 more years of update, maybe 7 years even. Now let's talk about the battery though. The S22 Ultra has been shamed for poor battery life, heating issues and all those things, but I think those are kind of solved with the One UI 5.1 software. If you have the brightest under manual settings, under direct sunlight, you know that this phone is not going to have any more heating issues. Battery-wise, the Samsung is very dependable. It can last a long. I'm using this phone with 120Hz on at 1440p resolution, and I'm still getting a great battery life out of it. Maybe not as good as my iPhone 15 Plus though, which is incredible in terms of battery efficiency or anything like that. So for example, my iPhone would probably still have like 15 to 18% battery when my Samsung gonna die with the same kind of usage. So you see what I'm trying to say here. And I'm not going to focus on the screen on time too much. I have already made 2 battery test videos on that. So if you want to check out, you can. I would still say, like, if I really have to go somewhere where I know that I'm going to take a lot of juice out of the phone, I would pick the iPhone because it's just too good at that. The next is vibration motor. I know it's not a big deal for everyone, but it's a good thing because if you're buying a premium phone, so you need to care about this. I mean, like, Samsung one is also very close. But Apple's one is better because it is implemented in more places in the software. You will experience it more often than not. Unlike the Samsung, where when you're unlocking the Galaxy phone, you will not gonna feel any of those feedbacks. Now let's talk about the other things before jumping into the cameras. 5G on both of them are pretty good. Call dropping, I haven't seen that. Call quality is amazing on both of them, but Apple one has a better mic capability because of the voice isolation feature on the iOS 17, which clears out all the background noise.
Okay, so you can see that this phone is ringing and I can hear it. But if I switch to voice isolation, you're not gonna. It's still playing though. It's still playing. You see? But once I switch to voice isolation, no, it's not. So the background noise cancellation is amazing on it. Like on call. Like this is amazing.
But Samsung, on the other hand, has call recording, so it's good. Both of them has IP68, but the iPhone is rated up to 6 meters compared to 1.5 meters on the Samsung. The iPhone has a mute switch, which is very satisfying actually. Samsung, on the other hand, has an S Pen hidden inside the phone. It's not a simple stylus though, it can do so many more things. The prediction, the response is amazing, no lag, it's really cool. Actually, I use this a lot in my daily life than I thought I would. So it is really handy tool to have. Now, even though Samsung has a lot of customization options compared to the iPhone, Android is kind of missing out on certain things in terms of like everyday tiny features. But at the end of the day, I would say Android also gives you a lot more options like pop-up windows feature, DeX feature, side buttons feature. Why the power button on the iPhone can't really do anything other than just one or two things? Samsung can do anything you want on the side button. You can press to lock, hold to do something else, triple press to do something else, double press to do something else. I mean, like so many customizations. And to do that on iPhone, you need to actually buy the Pro model with an action button. Doesn't really make sense, but that's the thing. And the same thing is also about the iPhone's multitasking. It's not even there, literally. Now, Samsung has 12 gigabytes of RAM, whereas the iPhone only has 6 gigabytes. The Samsung also has 256 gigabyte of base UFS 3.1 storage in my market, whereas Apple has much slower NVMe 128 gigabyte storage, base option. In terms of biometrics, though, both of the phones have solid biometrics. Samsung has ultrasonic fingerprint scanner on the display, and then there is also a 2D face unlock in case you need that. iPhone has only one option, and that is the Face ID, which is the most secure in the market, but at the same time, it's very inconvenient to use in many different scenarios. So it's either ways, certain things are good in the iPhone, certain things are good in the Android. That's why I actually have to carry both of them in my pocket mostly. Now, in terms of camera though, straight out, I'm just saying it. You don't have to watch the whole video. The overall winner is actually Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. I mean, if you talk about the overall photo quality or talk about the hardware, this is a winner. And most people I showed photos, they also prefer the Samsung in most cases. Now, iPhone's photos are kind of a dull looking one in most cases. But if you really love the iPhone style photos, then you're gonna love the iPhone photos. Samsung ones are actually more bright, vibrant. Also, it has a better portrait photos. And this is one of the most prime example of that. And I use this portrait mode on Samsung like every now and then. It's so damn good. Whether it's objects or humans or anything like that, it's just so good. Now, on the iPhone though, sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. Mostly maybe it doesn't have the LiDAR sensor, maybe that's the reason, but iPhone has 4K cinematic mode, which is a portrait video mode. Samsung one is actually the better one. It's a better portrait video mode. The cutout is just so good, but it is capped at 1080p for some reasons. So the cutouts are better on the Samsung, resolution is better on the iPhone. Now, in terms of daylight photos, HDR quality on both of them are great. You can take either photos and they're gonna be just crisp and clear and great. iPhone has a certain big advantages using its main 48 megapixel 1/1.52 inch sensor, much less shutter lag even when capturing full 48 megapixel photos. By default, it can also shoot 24 megapixel photos, so that is much more detailed than any 12 megapixel photos shot on the Samsung. This is the coolest thing of all. But the full 48 megapixel photo is actually insanely detailed compared to a full 108 megapixel photo using the main 108 megapixel 1/1.33 inch sensor on the Samsung. But iPhone's 48 megapixel photos are damn detailed, like so much of details in there. Also, the main camera on the iPhone allows for a 12 megapixel 2x lossless photo using a feature called sensor crop. And this sensor cropping feature is also coming to the Galaxy S24 Ultra. But at the end of the day, if you really want to zoom in, you have several camera options on the Galaxy. It has a dedicated 3x camera if you want. It has a dedicated 10x camera if you want. Or if you want, you can also zoom in up to 100x using the digital cropping. I really like the whole camera setup of the Galaxy S22 Ultra. Maybe the main camera is not that impressive that it could have been. Now, Apple and Samsung both have good ultra-wide-angle cameras, but Apple's phone can't really focus at a closer subject, means it doesn't have the macro mode that Samsung has. Focusing on closer subject is also a problem on the iPhone's main camera. Yeah, it is way better on the past iPhones with smaller sensors and also the Samsung, but it's not good on this phone. So yeah, it's like there are small bit of places where the iPhone is actually a winner in the camera department, but mostly like 90% of the time, Samsung is a winner. In the nighttime, both are equally good. They can make pitch black situation look the opposite at 12 megapixel on both, but the iPhone can preview it live while capturing it. That is really cool. But you can take the full 108 megapixel photo in the night. Apple will by default switch to 12 megapixel mode in the night. You have no way to capture a 14 megapixel photo in the night. Really weird. Samsung also has Expert RAW to capture RAW photos. Apple, there is no options as such, but you have a free camera app to do the same thing called ProCam. Now, in terms of videos, if you're thinking, well, both of them can shoot 4K videos up to 60 FPS, but Samsung can also do 8K 24 FPS videos. The HDR effect is much less on the 8K video, and it's not the best videos, but the normal 4K videos, if you see, Samsung can take good videos too, but it's not as good as the iPhone because it kind of feels like over-sharpened a little bit. The iPhone is a clear winner in the video category, but mostly in the automatic mode, because Galaxy Camera app also has Pro Video mode, but that is not something that you can find in the Apple's world. But Apple offers something else. Apple offers Dolby Vision recording. Also, if you need ProRes recording, you need to have the Blackmagic Pro Video app that also allows you for the Pro Video controls. Plus, it can also record in ProRes format. Really, really cool. And Samsung really lacks the log video shooting. That is kind of missing on it. But yeah, I'm super impressed with the 3x camera as a video camera on the Samsung. It's actually my personal favorite camera on this phone. The perspective of its own is so damn good. All the clips in the video featuring the iPhone taken on the 3x camera of the Samsung using the Pro Video mode, and all the clips showing Samsung taken using the 2x mode on the main camera of the iPhone. So you can compare of your own. But I would also say that in the nighttime videos, if I have to take one, I would probably gonna pick the iPhone because that's better. So certain things are good for the Samsung, certain things are good for the iPhone. Samsung also has a 40 megapixel sensor at the front, but it takes 12 megapixel photos, same as like the iPhone. So they both are good. I mean, like, I'm not gonna complain. So at the end of the day, if I have to put my own money, which I actually did, I had to buy both of them because of the software things, but if I really didn't have a preference on the software side of things, or let's say if I'm not a creator, I just want a phone to do the normal things, the photos, cameras, music, calls, and all those things, which one actually would have been the best choice within these two? I would probably say the Galaxy Ultra model over this iPhone 15 Plus. Because even if you look at the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, which is not as powerful as the A16 Bionic on paper, or as much efficient, it still has so much power inside for the stuff that I need to do on the phone every day. But yeah, I have to say the efficiency thing on the iPhone is better, and that's a good thing because with a smaller battery, it can last longer than Samsung. Definitely, I appreciate that. So it's not always the performance numbers you need to look at, but also about the overall experience with the efficiency and everything. Like Samsung can do pop-up windows, Samsung can do real multitasking, Apple can't really do all those things. So what I'm gonna do with the power? But then some Android applications are poorly optimized and also inconsistent, but better optimized on the iPhone. So it's either way, it's up to you which one you would pick. Because depending on whichever application you use on every single day, or whichever thing you want to do with the phone every single day, the iPhone might just be a great deal. Or maybe the Samsung. But that's up to you. But for me, as I said, the Galaxy is a clear winner. But that doesn't mean I hate the iPhone. I actually carry both of them at the same time. So I need both of them. So yeah, that's probably it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Which one you would actually pick if you have to choose between these two. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs, and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.